Alrighty, guys. The month of February is technically in the books if we're going by only days that the market is open. Which means that I am the winner in that context. However, as we were just discussing before we got on our group call here, because Bitcoin trades all the time, technically this is not over until 11:59 Pacific Standard Time tomorrow night. And the margin that you see on the bottom of your screen in our updated leaderboard has shrunk. Even in the last 10 minutes, it has shrunk. So, definitely not super happy about that. But here we are. Welcome to the market. Guys, I think the big story this week was the threat of rising interest rates just absolutely torpedoed everything. I mean, obviously we know that interest rates can't stay near zero forever, but I mean, Austin, given the news that we got this week, were you surprised by the reaction at all?
No, there's historically an inverse relationship between rising interest rates and stock prices. So when interest rates go up, stock prices go down.
So the degree, though, I guess is my question. Like, how quickly and how severe that change occurred. Was that at all surprising?
No, and even with that being said, I mean, typically, I think the selling was an overreaction, and then it'll balance out. But that's how things always go.
Yep.
Things get overbought, then balance out. Things get oversold and balance out. So That's just how it goes.
For those that are not familiar with why interest rates are such a problem for stocks, do you want to give them like a quick explanation of that?
It just basically makes borrowing money more expensive. When money is more expensive to borrow, it just limits overall cash flow in society, and that includes everything from business loans to home mortgages, car loans, all those types of things.
Yep. Perfect. Nice and easy explanation. I like it.
Yeah.
One of the few things about the market that is simple. Okay, Kyle. So now that you are in second place and you and I are like 0.3 of a percentage point separating each other, I mean, how do you feel now that, for all intents and purposes, you've made it through your first month and you've managed to do pretty well?
I'm very hesitant to say that there was really any skill or strategy involved in my picks, I guess. But I'm feeling, I guess, confident that, my very amateur investing type skills, like, I guess, brand recognition and, like, the few that I actually picked based off of, like, personal, I guess, like, other than like brand recognition, so like TSMC, Honeywell, and Cognizant. Cognizant is kind of in the dumpsters. Honeywell and TSMC are doing like fairly okay for me. Like, I mean, they're not like my biggest gainers.
Yeah.
They're still green, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my intuition on some of those is like, it's not, I guess, terrible. 2 out of 3 are in the green, but I don't know, the big name picks, like, they all seem to be, at one point or another, they all seem to be like pretty successful. So yeah, I guess, I don't know, brand recognition at least helps in that regard, some regard.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it at the beginning, and it's a point that bears repeating. I'm just looking at your positions right now. Mm-hmm. Buying what you know is never a bad place to start if you are trying to get into the market for the first time.
Yeah.
Oof. Holding steady at 0.2 of a percentage point.
Oh, come on.
No. For those of you that watched last week and are joining us again this week, you will notice that, again, because of talk of rising interest rates, this week was rather catastrophically bad for everybody. I was at over 16%. I'm now at 7. Kyle and Austin were somewhere between 8 and 10, if my memory serves me correctly. You can see where they've fallen to. And poor Kyle, who is not joining us on video tonight, had a rough week. GameStop rallied, which was good, but his Workhorse Motor Group did not get the U.S. Postal Service contract. That stock absolutely cratered because of it, and that is a large and significant reason why he's now at negative 14.5% for the month. But yes, a rough week on the topic of rising interest rates. Like we said, for beginners, never a bad thing to start with companies and brands that you recognize, you understand what they do, you understand how the business model works. Because you can see, at least in a very small sample size example here, that even that level of understanding is sufficient enough to get started in the market. Okay, so let's talk next steps here. March begins on Monday. Assuming that we ride this out in terms of, like, you can make whatever moves you want. You can buy and sell whatever you want. Obviously, that's the point of this contest. But knowing where the market is at, knowing where a potential third round of stimulus is at, knowing where conversations surrounding interest rates are at, what moves are you all thinking about in terms of trying to prepare your portfolio for what could be a very, very interesting next month?
Well, I'm still brainstorming, so I don't have a complete answer for that.
Are you still brainstorming, or you just don't want to give anybody any information that they might use to get ahead of you?
It's actually just brainstorming because I really need to do some reading still on what a good investor does in this type of scenario. But I will reconsolidate probably my entire portfolio in the next week. I'll still keep the minimum. I think we agreed on eight investments minimum. I'll keep with that, obviously. But
yep.
In terms of like what industries I'm gonna be focusing on, blue chip stocks, high risk stocks, I don't know yet. I'm just going to. I need to look into it still.
Kyle, have you thought very much about any changes that you might make, or are you going to stay with what you have?
I hate to say that I'm so comfortable with it. Like, I guess, I think Cognizant was a little too soon, so if at the very least that might be the one that I cut.
Technically, isn't it about to be F1 season, though?
Yeah. Well,
not that Cognizant derives all of its value from F1, obviously, but.
Yeah, so I think testing starts in March. But the thing is, there's still another month gap or something like that after. So
yeah.
I think maybe, let's say April or later, I revisit Cognizant.
Okay. Outside of F1, how are they doing? I guess is the question.
I mean, I don't keep up too much with the company, but they have basically been down ever since I bought them.
Oof.
So pretty much the whole month, I think they've been down. So,
that's a bummer.
Yeah, it's not tracking super well. I'm not. The thought process behind it was like, like screen time, right? But also, American people just don't really watch Formula One. Like, I mean, I'm a huge F1 fan, so not to offend any of the fans out there, but there's just not that many of us that watch it. So I don't know that it would help necessarily.
Well, yeah, and I think my question is more, you bought it, again, because it was a brand that you were somewhat familiar with, and you knew what they did to an extent. But really, your biggest exposure to them was through F1 sponsorship.
Exactly.
And while F1 sponsorship is cool, it's not going to show up as a line item on a company's balance sheet. Hey, we made X number of dollars off of F1 sponsorship.
Exactly.
Like, in theory, that's why you sponsor something, right? You want brand exposure that in turn drives revenue. But that relationship, when you put your name on the side of a race car, is a little bit more difficult to track than, hey, we're Starbucks and this is how many cups of coffee we sold in the last quarter.
Yeah. It's like, oh, can you, there's like, I don't know, yeah, there's just not, you can't tie a solid number to like, oh, you know, these people saw these things that they bought into our like large company like serving like product, you know.
Yeah, because they do like biz dev stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like a normal a regular Joe like you or I are gonna like buy into a Cognizant's product.
No.
So yeah. So I think at the very least I cut that. I don't know. It's just I don't know at what point like I'll be uncomfortable.
Well, I'm very curious to watch this with you because, again, as somebody who's never done this before,
exactly. Yeah.
like, where do you start to set up those boundaries? Like, I've made enough money off of this that I'm comfortable letting it go, or this has gone on long enough, I need to cut bait and move on while I still have something left.
Yeah, that's true. Like, Apple's been Apple is currently my largest loser, second only to Cognizant.
Okay.
At -8%, that's like a 13,000 loss. So it's like that one sucks, but at the same time, it's such like a big company that I feel like maybe it can recover. So it's like
I would take that one step further. I would say they will recover. The question is, how long is it going to take?
Exactly.
Right. The empirical data on blue chip tech is fairly conclusive. Like.
Yeah. So it's like such a long-term thing.
Yep.
That I feel like I have to play that one long. Delta's actually been great. So it's like
I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm going to give you a free piece of advice here. I would not do anything with airline stock. All of that stuff is trending in the right direction. Like the next 3 months or more is why you bought them when you did.
I see. Yeah.
So yeah, I would not do anything with that unless the answer is buy more.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah. So I'm very indecisive with these things.
Next week's episode is going to be real interesting then because we're going to have a lot of updates to cover.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess maybe some of the slower movers. TSMC is like pretty stable, but it's not exactly taking off like I was imagining. Honeywell, I might actually kind of cut them too though, because they're positive, but they're not like super. Yeah, I don't know. So maybe I'll go for I'll cut some of the maybe like less or like the more stable like positive ones, and then just kind of cycle in something that's maybe a little more like experiment with something that's maybe a little more volatile.
Swinging for the fences.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at the same time, I also, I guess I gotta put more research into because I would say these are all pretty safe picks because big brands or big names.
Mm-hmm.
But going with something more volatile, then I'm just that's a zone that is like I don't know, like Hail Mary doesn't exactly work in that aspect, I don't think.
Yeah, it's great when it works well, and it's really bad when it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think I'm right there with you guys. I have some positions. Obviously, I have a couple blue chip positions that are probably long-term holds. Apple and Microsoft, I mean, they will come back, like I just said. The question is, how long is it going to take? DraftKings has actually been extremely good for me, even throughout all of last week. I got my Super Bowl earnings bump on, was it Friday? I think they reported on Friday. Yeah, they did. They reported yesterday. So I got my Super Bowl earnings bump there, which was great because yesterday was not good for a lot of my other positions. So I was glad something could keep it moving in the right direction. Bitcoin, I mean, I'll probably keep it just because, I mean, I've ridden the roller coaster this long. Like, I may as well stay. But yeah, I mean, some of these I was really disappointed in. Like Ericsson, I thought for sure that with global momentum towards 5G that would do a little bit better. Granted, I've hardly lost anything, but I didn't think it would be in the red at this point. Canadian Solar and Tesla, though, are by far my biggest losers. I'm at 16.7 and 17.4, so those two positions alone make up like 90% or more of everything that I have lost in the month of February.
Yeah.
So, again, I don't really want to lock in those losses. I would rather ride it out and see if I can turn it around, but depending on what everybody else does, of course, because this is a contest, I think that will kind of dictate how aggressive I decide to be, particularly with some of those underperforming positions. But, yeah, definitely been doing some reading and some research on what else I should be looking at given the specter of rising interest rates. And I've got some ideas. The question is, what do I liquidate to make those ideas happen? So, should be an interesting week. I'm sure some changes will be made, but we can talk about that on Saturday. But yeah, now that month one is in the books, I guess, Austin, we can come back to you on this one. Like, what positions of yours surprised you the most? For good reasons or bad?
I mean, my worst performer, both percentage-wise and money-wise, was Apple.
Yeah. Not even your Abbott Labs position or silver?
Well, I dumped those at the beginning.
I know, but the losses you incurred on those while you had them.
I mean, it wasn't much.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you moved on pretty quickly, so I guess it would have been hard for that to get much worse than a couple percentage points.
It was down a lot, and I just didn't see any upside potential with it. I think I would have pretty much just kind of, it would have been whatever. And then with silver, I mean, the only reason I bought it was because, it was kind of in the conversation on Wall Street Bets. But I think it actually had a fairly decent run this last month. Compared to the price that I bought it at. But I mean, with Apple, I'm not surprised that it's down, but I'm just a little bit bummed that it's down a lot more than the other blue chips I have, like Microsoft and Amazon.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Expedia, actually, I finished the month 27.5% up.
There you go.
So that's actually my winner percentage and value-wise.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, that's another one. Like, I'll say the same thing again. I think the only correct answer with that type of stock right now is to buy more.
Yeah.
At least based on the numbers and the data that I'm seeing, it's going to be a good spot to be for the next couple months, assuming that things continue to trend in the right direction.
Yeah.
What overall was my best stock? That's a great question. Yeah, I was up almost 70% at one point on Bitcoin alone. I'm now down at 35.8. But
it's still big.
Yeah, I mean, 35.8 is still really big. The other one, Alaska Air, is up 32.7 in a month.
Damn.
And then DraftKings is third at 12.5. So, definitely made some good picks. I didn't really want 3 stocks to be carrying my entire fantasy finance portfolio for the month of February, but here we are. Something to aspire to beat in the month of March, I guess. Because, yeah, Target is a slight net positive and everything else is red.
Yeah.
Not good. Not good. But it's going to be interesting. Lots going on. I guess on the topic of Bitcoin and crypto in general, Austin, what do you think about this conversation around potentially impending federal regulation if it hits a certain market cap?
I mean, it's not going to be good for the price of it. I think a lot of people will take money out. But I mean, one thing that's interesting about crypto that I've noticed is that it does well when the entire market is doing well, unlike other commodities such as silver or gold. I mean, silver and gold do well when the market is doing poorly.
Mm-hmm.
But Bitcoin kind of moves with the entire market. And I think part of that is because when the entire market's doing well, people are willing to take more risks, and Bitcoin is one of those risks.
Yep.
That's the reason. And I think if there's like a big pullback or, the Dow and S&P fall, who knows, 6, 7, 8%, I mean, Bitcoin's going to go right down with it.
But see, I'm not sure about that, because historically there's at least some precedent for when the market is unstable and generating substandard returns, people will move to Bitcoin as an alternative because it's decentralized and it's not tied to any of that.
But people aren't going to be taking risks anymore. I mean, now you have the big banks that are jumping into Bitcoin. You have big corporations that are doing it, like Tesla, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not going to be taking those risks or dumping large amounts of money in when they're being more conservative.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my theory, anyways. But I'm
going to save that clip of the recording, and if it goes very poorly for the next couple months, we may revisit this conversation.
All right.
One of those like gray flashbacks that pop up.
Yeah, I mean, it could be like those sports takes you see all the time on like daytime talk shows. They love to bring them up when they were prophetic 6 months in advance, and they conveniently forget them when it was like the worst take in modern history.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very curious about that in general, because I think you're right. You know, given its unique position in the market and that it's not tied to a lot of other things, there's very good reason to believe that it could go up or it could go down, regardless of what the rest of the market is doing, because of it or in spite of it, at the same time or at the opposite time. It's just a very hard thing to peg down.
Right. Yeah, I mean...
Do you think the Coinbase IPO has a long-term net positive or long-term net negative on the price?
I have not looked into it at all.
Okay. Yeah. See, I would assume that would be a net positive, because you're talking about increasing accessibility to Bitcoin and crypto in general. But
Yeah,
by the same token, if it floods cryptos with big money and regulation follows big money, then obviously that's not a good outcome if you're chasing high upside.
Yeah, my only concern with that, though, long term, is that now that you have all these, now you kind of have more of an incentive to please the shareholders. Is Coinbase going to take action that doesn't benefit your standard retail investor? Are they going to be
fair question?
Going to participate
No.
in government type intervention? So we don't know.
It's going to be an interesting thing to watch. Okay, one more new piece of market news that I want everybody's thoughts on, and then we can kind of wrap it up. But rumor mill has it that Robinhood is looking at an IPO in the potentially near future. Good idea? Bad idea? Based on all of the meme stock carnage of the last 31 days? What do we think?
I've told you from the very beginning, Jordan, I do not like Robinhood since day one.
You and I both, my friend.
Yeah. So those are my thoughts.
That's it. No fundamental analysis, just visceral, this is what I feel in my soul. Okay, that's fair.
Do you think there would be some kind of like conflict of interest in there, or like how are they going to mitigate that?
Well, so this is one of the number of things that makes public offerings for brokerages quite interesting, right? Because they are not the first and they will not be the last. You can buy stock in a brokerage that controls transactions of other securities on behalf of other people. And obviously that sounds kind of weird because, well, you're buying stock in them and they're making money off of stock in other people type of a thing. Really, though, it's not that much different than buying stock in a bank. I mean, a lot of the same principles apply in terms of how conflict of interest and that kind of stuff is managed. Obviously, I don't think that we're done hearing about them in the headlines because of all of the stuff that happened with pay for order flow. That conversation is nowhere near being done. So I don't think it's necessarily a conflict of interest in the way that you might be thinking that it is. But given the recent controversy with them, I guess my thing is, like, you've raised so many rounds of VC money, why rush it now? Like, your brand is damaged. You know, give it some time, legitimately try to fix it.
Yeah.
And then try to IPO at a higher price. I mean, unless they're running out of runway, unless they can't raise another round, or unless people want money that's owed to them. I can't think of a reason why it would make sense to, forget all of the GameStop stuff, forget all of the stuff with people committing suicide because they blew up an options trade because we let them trade options when we shouldn't have. Forget all of that, let's go public now. Like, that to me makes no sense.
Yeah.
But,
Yes.
From like a venture capital perspective, it could be influenced from their current investors.
well, and that's what I'm saying. If they want the money that's owed to them, maybe that's part of this.
Yeah, they might be pressuring them to IPO for them to exit and get out now.
Yeah, maybe.
Because they're at the point now where if they hold another fundraising round, I mean, no one's going to buy secondary shares of that company, even if it's a good discount. So the only way is merger and acquisition or IPO for the investors to get their money.
Yeah. Do you know offhand whether they're profitable at this point?
I don't know.
Okay. I should have looked into it before we got on, but yeah, I would be curious to know where those numbers are at, because maybe that has something to do with it too.
I mean, we can take a quick look.
Yeah, pull that up while we're here. I'm curious.
I'm just going to pull up on Crunchbase.
Do it. Crunchbase, great resource if you are a founder or into startups at all. Lots of fantastic information. They are not paying me to plug this, but I've used the free tier. I've used the paid tier. It's very cool.
So let's see. They have raised $5.6 billion across 21 funding rounds.
Oh, I didn't realize they'd already gone through 21 rounds.
I mean, it includes convertible notes,
Okay.
Venture rounds, but for like their, I guess you would say formal rounds, they've gone up to Series G.
Okay, so they're still fairly far down the road compared to what most people do.
I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but if I could guess, their valuation is probably up around anywhere between 12 and 15 billion.
Yeah.
So.
So they have a healthy valuation. But yeah, I mean, they've definitely raised plenty of rounds. I can see why there would be concern about trying to do another one.
Yeah.
Do they have profit at this point, or is it still revenue and net loss?
It doesn't say.
Doesn't say. Okay.
Just off Crunchbase. I mean, I'm sure if you look hard enough into it, you'll find something.
Okay, well, food for thought. The other one that I saw that made me laugh was the whole Adam Newman SoftBank WeWork settlement thing the other day. Oh boy. We won't get into that tonight, but very, very strange and silly things, in my opinion, are happening right now. But anyway, enough of me pontificating about the weird and wonderful world of the stock market. Closing thoughts for the month of February. What did we learn? What are we looking forward to for the month of March? Let's hear it. I mean, offhand, I'll tell you, the first thing I learned is that I probably should have started moving things in my actual portfolio to be in line with some of the stuff in my fantasy finance portfolio, because I could have made some serious bank. So maybe there's a spin-off series in the month of March where I actually start sharing my actual portfolio in some of these videos and showing you what's going on there. That might be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, look who wants to join.
Wow.
All right. We were just getting ready to wrap up. I'd already made all your excuses for you.
Oh, okay.
But no, you joined us at a good time. Oh, he's gone. Oh. He's back.
You guys ping me?
I did ping you.
No, none of you pinged me.
I mean, I pinged you. That's what you just responded to. Anyway, whatever.
No, I mean, I just checked to see, like, I just opened my Slack on my phone and happened to see, like, it was, like, you guys, none of you messaged me. Like, I text Kyle, let me put it that way, when he doesn't join the meeting. Like, you guys, message me on Facebook or anything to join?
Well, I thought the Slack message would be enough. That's my fault. Anyway,
Okay, whatever.
we were just wrapping up with best performers, worst performers, and lessons learned for the month of February. Obviously, we've already covered that your GameStop bet. We knew the heart behind it. We knew what was probably going to happen there. Obviously, it was not a good week for Workhorse either, losing the USPS contract.
Oh, yeah, that was not good. I think it sold Monday, though, so I'm not sure if that one affected me as bad.
Oh, you already sold them?
Yeah, because I told you last week I was going to sell them and probably try to invest in something else.
Yeah, I didn't know if you'd actually gone through with that. Okay.
And that tanked anyway, so that didn't really matter.
Oh, boy. On the bright side, though, what price did you buy GameStop at initially?
I don't know, like $200 something.
Oh, okay.
$300 something.
I mean, it's back up to 98. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, like it's bounced a little bit. It's no longer an 80% loss, like a 60% loss. So, it's not bad.
But
Well, guys, I actually need to jump off.
you're gonna go do all your research now for the month of March, so you can try to absolutely pulverize everybody.
I will be conducting that this evening, yes.
Oh, here we go. All right, get out of here. We'll talk to you on Saturday.
Yeah, take care.
See you, Austin.
Leaving the call to go do research on how he can beat all of us. The nerve.
Doing market research. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he didn't do very well from what I saw.
No, he's down at
Well, I mean-
1.72% is not good. Though, to be fair, it was a brutal week for everybody.
Well, what happened to him? I guess.
Well, the prospect of rising interest rates across the market pretty much did everybody in. I mean, I lost 9.5%. Kyle lost between 3 and 4. Austin lost like 8. Obviously,
Well, I guess.
you
Would
got
he
hit
lose
by
8?
it too. So
Would he lose 8% in though? Like, I don't know. He's the only one who's jumping back and forth, so I don't even know what his portfolio is. That's what I'm saying, I guess.
Oh, actually, one of the biggest losers amongst all of us was actually Apple. So
Yeah.
it wasn't even that he did anything super crazy. It was just that his position in Apple was large
He was
enough.
heavily this and that.
Yeah, so tech in general makes up over half of his portfolio. So he's fairly heavily concentrated. Though I guess, Kyle, you're at 50%. And yeah, both of you are at over 50% tech. So, I mean, Apple was the common denominator, but there were other things that went on.
Yeah.
I think GameStop is considered tech too. Or is it considered consumer?
Yeah, I mean, how some of the classifications in this app are a little bit murky to me. I honestly haven't spent the time to figure it out. But generally speaking, that was... I mean, I had a couple losses that were bigger than that, but I also had things that gained that were much bigger than that, so it canceled out. But
Sure.
you and I got weighed down by Tesla. My Canadian solar shares have tanked, which is not great, but it happens.
Canadian Solar.
Yeah, that was my one green energy stock. I might need to diversify that a little bit more. Because because that did not go well. But again, it's only 28 days, so.
I guess, do I need to know any rules for next month then?
We're going to keep going with the same rules as the month of February. At least 8 positions, no more than 12.
Sure.
Buy and sell at your leisure. Same thing at the end. Person with the highest percentage of gains wins. So I guess in wrapping up, what did you learn in your first month of actual trading outside of investing in your employer-controlled 401k?
I learned that, I don't know, all my investments basically performed how I probably thought they could, within realm of believable performance.
Okay.
Like, I guess Tesla was kind of iffy. GameStop was kind of a YOLO, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we all pretty much wrote that one off.
was completely staked on getting that contract, so that fell through, so that makes sense. I guess, like, the only surprises, were, like, Microsoft and Apple. I kind of figured they would give me, like, single percent returns, positive returns. Apple would give me, like, a double-digit negative return, which is, like, way different than I thought it was going to be. So...
Happens to the best of them, unfortunately. But, okay. Good stuff. Well, next week's episode is going to be very busy, chocked full of lots of changes. I know Austin's probably going to make some. I will probably make some. I would not be surprised if the both of you made some, or were at least seriously considering it. So, best of luck with those. Kyle, you can Venmo all of us beer money at...
Sure.
12:01 on Monday morning.
Sure. What is considered beer money?
I mean, I was thinking, like, how much does it cost to buy, like, a single beer? So probably, like, $5.
I don't know. I haven't been to a bar in a long time.
No one's been to a bar in a long time.
I haven't bought a single beer in a long time. I've only bought, packs of beer from the store recently, I feel like, so... I can't remember the last time I've ordered a drink, like any kind of drink, like a soda or a juice from a restaurant. So, I mean, if you get food to go, like, I never want to get a drink, I feel like.
No, I mean, I make all my drinks at home now, so that's... If I'm ordering drinks, it's from myself.
Nice.
I can't remember the last time I ordered, like, a beverage, I guess. That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time. Been a long time. Though for a while, those adult Capri Sun things were all the rage. They were, like, making cocktails and putting them in, like, little...
Like coolers or whatever they're called?
They weren't like Ziploc bags, but they were like... They almost looked like an IV drip from the hospital, kind of thing. Yeah. But yes. Congratulations, I guess, on being our biggest loser in the month of February.
Nice. Well, I mean, like, even if you get rid of, like, GameStop, I think between probably Workhorse and Tesla, I don't think it would have gone very well anyways. Like, I think I probably would have lost anyways. I didn't have a Bitcoin to bring me up, so I think besides...
No, but if it makes you feel better, I've lost half of my net gain in Bitcoin in the last 5 days, to the point that Kyle and I are now separated by 0.2%. So, it gives and it takes, especially when the rest of your portfolio falls apart.
You didn't sell at any point during that?
No.
Okay. I thought you would have sold your position at some point and moved on.
Oh, damn it. Am I losing now?
No, but...
Is that how often it fluctuates?
Bitcoin trades all the time. So for those of you watching at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night, whenever we end up publishing this, this is the current difference.
I know that it... Oh, you can't actually see the difference.
Bring it this way? There you go.
Oh, there. Go down a little bit? Oh, there it is.
So
6.72 and 6.75.
Oh, boy.
That's so gross. 26 days of absolute fantastic performance.
Let's go!
I guess I'll wait till Monday
And the specter of rising interest rates and tweets from Elon Musk just ruin everything.
I'll give you slightly tiered rewards. I guess you could buy slightly better beer for third and second and first place. So
This is-
Jordan, you're gonna miss out on getting a premium beer. You're gonna have to get like.
Well, hold on. So Bitcoin trades all the time. I could technically still come
That's
back
what I
as
said,
long
I'll
as
wait
it's
till
sometime
12:01.
tomorrow.
And they said you could miss out on premium beer. Like, you get a Bud Light instead. I don't know. And then third place, I guess Austin's getting like Bush. I guess.
Yeah, give Austin enough to like buy a single can of Natty Ice or something.
Yeah, like, I guess that's what he's getting. You know, like he'll get the $5 beer. I feel like that's a $5 beer.
Yeah.
So, you know, like,
Oh boy.
second place, so we'll get like that $7. You can buy the bottle at the bar. You know, like
There
a
you go.
single bottle of beer at the bar.
Yep.
And then, you know, we'll get fans. We'll give you like $10 to buy like.
Ooh.
A nice beer. You know, you get the higher alcohol percentage, you know.
Something craft. Look at you go. All right.
Yeah, there you go. You can have tiered beer.
I would just like to point out for the first time that my graphic did not even make it through filming one whole video before it is technically no longer correct.
Did you guys test the audio too before this one? Did you guys check to see what it sounded like?
I made a couple of tweaks and then I just kind of rolled with it. So
Oh, you didn't just like make like a recording where you guys just talked for a second and like stopped and started it again? That's what we did the first time, just to see like what the video looked like at the end.
I mean that would have made too much sense.
Okay, well, I guess I hope.
I was too nervous tracking my Bitcoin position.
Wait, why don't you just sell when you're ahead?
Because Bitcoin is a long-term store of value.
It's a long-term store of value, but you can sell literally right now and buy back in Monday. But what are the odds that it changes that much over the weekend where you regret buying back in Monday after selling Saturday night?
Do you know that trying to time the market is extremely difficult?
I know, but do you know that this is fake money and this is your pride on the line?
I got stubborn, okay? I thought it was going to be fine. I thought even in the face of rising interest rates and tweets from the Fed about Bitcoin being a speculative bubble, which we're not going to get into whether it is or it isn't, I thought that loyal devotees of decentralized finance and tokenization would at least hold it off a little bit. But
I guess I don't know how many big sharks there are in the big Bitcoin world.
how many whales? I don't remember the most recent number offhand, but
Because I guess those are the people who probably actually significantly.
okay, technically we're now tied, so okay. Well, that settles that. I'm not going to be sleeping until like Monday because I'm going to be watching this the whole time. But
I'm telling you could just.
I can't sell it off now because if I sell it off now, I lock myself into second place because the market is closed and Monday is the 1st of March.
That's what I'm saying. Why don't you just sell like as soon as you see? I mean, like it seems to be. You know,
Oh, yes. As soon as I gain first place back, yes, I could
Yeah.
definitely do that.
Nice.
I mean, like that's what I'm saying. Like there is a fear, like you sell Saturday and like to secure first, and then you buy back in Monday. 'Cause you can't buy back in if it goes back up.
Yeah.
Like then because theoretically it goes back down again. So like, I guess you wait till 12:01 Monday, you buy back in. Like, if there's a significant difference, you feel bad that you lost out on like potentially 10% gains because you sold and bought again. Like,
Oh, boy.
Theoretically, that is a thing.
Oh, boy. The strategy of the last-ditch effort to save my pride.
Anyways, no, that's up to you. Just let me know who officially places where. Yes.
Oh yes, I'll put like a championship belt by somebody's name next week instead of these first, second, and third place medals, and that will definitively once and for all etch somebody's name into the gauntlet of history as the winner of the inaugural month of Fantasy Finance.
Sure, you need a season indicator, or not a season, a month indicator, I guess.
Yeah, some type of power rankings. We could do that too.
Oh yeah, I guess you could.
We're only scratching the surface of what I'm going to start throwing into these videos.
You could do that. You could do arrows.
I'm seriously considering adding a 5th entrant and just letting my dog pick a whole bunch of positions and see what happens there too, because I think that would be wildly entertaining.
You could do that as like a next month.
I mean, if Oliver the stock-picking cat can beat people in Europe, like, my dog is probably smart enough to do that. I mean, like, let's try it and see what happens.
You could do that next month. That could be like the thing. You could see if we're smarter than X animal. I guess.
Are you smarter than a food-motivated beagle? Great question. I sincerely hope the answer is yes.
What is the choosing process? You're just gonna put cards in front of it and it walks to one, or are you gonna put like treats?
Typically, you have to use some type of food in order to get them to select something. But in her case, she would pick everything that I put a treat on. So I don't.
Yeah, you just write a symbol, and then you put like a.
I would have to figure out how to randomize. I would have to figure out how to randomize the entirety of all available publicly traded securities, and then put some num-nums on them and see what she picks. But.
Well, I think you would probably have to curate the list. Like, you can't just...
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I would use like a random number generator and say, okay, here's 20, which of the first 10 type of a thing. Okay, there you go.
I see.
I might have to do that. I feel like that'd be pretty funny. Okay, well, I'll stew on that, and I'll be watching Bitcoin all night long, so if anybody needs me, I will be up all night and seriously sleep deprived, but...
No, just let me know who wins. I guess I would have been, though.
Kyle doesn't care. He's just like, I don't care. Just tell me when it's over.
I mean, I'm not gonna monitor it hour to hour.
No. You don't need to. I'm the only one who probably cares enough to monitor it obsessively at this juncture.
Oh wait, you're ahead again. Or
Ah!
You're ahead again. I can't tell.
I want Bitcoin.
I don't know if mine's up to date though. So.
Oh boy.
I have Jordan at 6.93, which is
yes.
high, so I feel like that's
You swung
Yes.
from about there down to like 6.6 something though.
I started this call at 7.36. I made this updated graphic 10 minutes before to capture the most accurate pricing information.
Damn,
okay.
But
I see.
Alright, we'll see.
oh boy.
Alright, yeah, we'll see.
Down to the wire. Thanks for calling in, guys. Everybody, thank you for watching. Be sure to join us again next week when we officially crown a winner for the month of February and detail all of the changes for the month of March. Until then, take care, and we'll see you next time.